The launch patch has been locked in, and we are in the final weekend stretch before the set hits live servers. Therefore, it is time for us to start dialing in our meta reads and getting in those reps on lines, which we expect to be quite strong coming out of the gates. However, we should remain open-minded. As previous sets have shown, we oftentimes overlook certain traits or units which actually are quite strong, but the meta on the PB is quite narrow and the sample sizes are simply too low for us to notice them. Therefore, for today, we're jumping in game with a player who always identifies the potential and makes it work in these high elo Project PB games. That would be Wasian Iverson. We are playing in a Silver Scrapes, immediately playing around the potential to play around these adapters, but our items are more leaning into some form of an AP flex direction, holding on to a Yeeb Orb, which is also an incredibly strong opener. Zaya with that Rage Blade could also be something we could be playing. We are quite open on what we could be going for, therefore let's let this augment decide our direction. On last second, they're opting to hold also onto the Teemo. Theoretically, a decent unit that we could be playing around with these items. However, I found him a little underpowered on 1 and 2 stars. We are offered with backup bows, which is going to be quite slow. We gave up onto that Zaya. We wouldn't be able to make a Rage Blade, which would be a way to proc it. Kickstart could provide us with some potential direction, but the rest of our board, well, we have this potential for upgraded Ravagers. We have the potential play around Eeyore, but don't have really the item slams. We're probably slamming Morello, Spirit Visage, Archangels, not too happy about it, but it is scaling, so it's quite potential. Slightly magical roll simply has the highest potential upside. The roller in this case could be the rerolls. As I was corrected, HP is actually quite fine with the value that has been to that. Loaded dice, it's a gamble augment. I don't think people have been too happy about it. It doesn't provide much value right away either, and simply slightly magical roll on average is going to be more value. Created Craft Ring, great whenever you have these extra components or something. He sees Artificate, we don't have direction, pick this thing, we can find something. Mana Zane is alright, Collector generally has a lot of potential to be played around. He's going to go with the Eternal Pact, and that is also a great artifact into these AP lines, particularly the reroll ones. Something like a Veigar, we do not have a Veigar to be playing around, you want a tempo around that. He's going to be slotting that on the Teemo now, and I'm wondering what the game plan is going to be there. We picked that slightly magical roll, and we got the roller outcome, which is the rerolls. Reason why it's considered to be the roll one is it doesn't have any immediate value for you. Particularly if you're going to be angling something like Fast 8, you're playing without a Silver Augment pretty much for well, both stages, right? If you had gold, you would make econ intervals faster, that's going to compound. If you had even the HP, which I thought before to be the lower outcome, you have a potential to streak, right? With these rerolls, you have nothing. The only upside that potentially could come is that if you happen to go on a streak, which is going to be harder since you're down in augment, you could be fishing for some charms to simply upgrade your case, but we are going to be going here, find that Kabuko too, that's going to give us some sort of front line and to just simply let our Eternal Pact proc a little bit more also, because whenever the unit cast, the Teemo is going to gain some mana, Teemo potentially can farm some resources. But regarding the Fast 8 lines, Eternal Pact, I am not exactly sure on which ones would go very strong, right? Invokers, well, we have that mana gen, and right there, there is still the niche case where if you have a spare Warmogs from nowhere, you could be looking to slot it in a secondary unit, sacking that, and then gain that ability power burst on their main carry. But it's a very niche case, and I wouldn't be playing that as my game plan. We also have this mana consumable, which could generally go on any caster. And for our open, we're just going to be taking a tier here, seems. So that is still signaling that, yeah, we're definitely going into this AP game plan. Tier also a very flexible component to be playing around. We are opting to hold on to this Fiddlesticks as well, so maybe considering a potential to play in some kind of a Soraka flex could work there. Simply get this thing on the Zyra, for example. Yeah, the Malphite flex should be quite decent, but we do not have any stone plates or anything. We have this Blackthorn emblem here. I suppose this player might be considering playing into Warwick reroll, still quite strong with the Blackthorn emblem. Otherwise, you can just go Blackthorn flex with something like the Ari in that. But well, there is so many changes that I think it has fallen out of favor a little bit, but still a decent emblem to be playing around. Emblems are generally extremely strong. And this is the, I believe, the bug charmer you can get at 4 cost on stage 2. I think it was supposed to be only stage 3, but well, it's been around for like a few days, so if they haven't fixed it by now, well, we're just going to be practicing and playing around with it, and we high roll a set. That is definitely going to be quite strong to help us stabilize right here. We also picked up the Teemo 2, which should be quite decent as long as you have that extra front line. Barely take a win here, so we have went on this little bit of a mixed streak. Quite healthy, but we had farmed a little bit of extra HP, and we find 4 Teemos already. Is he signaling here that, hey, we're going to be going with a Teemo? Theoretically, Eternal Pact is quite good under this Teemo. He loves to be spam casting. We have also a mana consumable. We have an open tier. Another tier, so I would be looking to make frontline probably here. And even more AP, and he's starting to start investing here, so that seems to me that, yeah, we are going to be going potentially playing around this Teemo reroll. We have this set, so we have a bridge for the frontline potential already there. Probably would be looking to slot in 3 spike in onto the level 6. I don't think we really need an Invoker here, since we're going to be gaining so much mana gen already. So we can swap out this Pebble for a 4th Brawler, and we should be having a decent level 4 board right here with all the circumstances aligned. Able to pick up another win against Scipeus here, and now we probably would want to be leveling 6, maybe utilize some of these free rerolls. Golden Dragon. This thing got nerfed a few times, but still is incredibly strong. Someone in Project PB lobby was able to essentially go fast enough just clicking this thing recently, and yeah, it's still very, very strong, especially in comps where the last slot is quite flexible. And if you have a frontline items to pair with this thing, it's even greater. At least stage 3 to stabilize right there. Challenger's Grace, theoretically decent in the melee comps, but you haven't have that many like particularly melee-centric comps, something like the Marauders from last set or Slayers from set 16. Then when this thing emerges, then it should be quite good. Trade sector, we have those free rerolls. If you need a Nikon augment is something I would consider taking, but otherwise we are looking for items since we invested in the Artificate. Seraphim Staff, we do not want this mana gen portion. We have a lot of mana gen through our artifact and through the consumable we picked up. Therefore, we probably are leading Golden Dragon. It gives us a little bit of an extra gold that is nice for our reroll purposes, but most importantly, it's an item going to make this Kabuko quite big. Not going to be leveling here actually, because yeah, we're at 50 gold. We have now solid frontline as well, so we do not really need to be fishing for extra upgrades. I'm going to be playing 3 Sprite in here with mounting the Teemo still nonetheless. That seems to be the meta, that you just simply mount your carry, even though the stat boost is a little bit more maybe appealing to the frontliner with the extra HP. Just get your carry there, because the BFF is also going to be attacking, right? And that seems to be the case so far, unless they make any other changes later on down the set. Going a copy here, 2 gold investment is completely fine, since we're also probably gunning for this Kobuko 3. Going to be going to level 6 here as our recon interval gets shifted. Nicely spotted right there. Rolling quite deep here. Picked up a Morgana for our Invoker, but we're considering probably, yeah, transitioning items to this set could make sense. I would assume that set 1 should be in theory stronger than the Kobuko 2. Simply by the design, but also, yeah, obviously he sacked this set because we had the first champion to die. Nicely spotted there. We could just sack a 4 cost and gain him essentially 2 gold for free, and maybe we high roll a set 2 from this and this somehow. Nicely capitalizing on all the possibilities, and this is what separates some of the just an average player from the best. They are aware of all these potential high rolls and how to put yourself in best position to be able to high roll. Then you're like, oh, they just high rolled, they took first. Yeah, you need to be high rolling in some way to be taking firsts and seconds in these super high elo lobbies, and you need to be able to identify how can you put yourself in a position to be able to do so the best. How just playing sometimes the opportunity cost, right? Playing the game around that. We should be quite stable here, so I would be happy just sitting here econing back up. We are already at 7 copies of Teemo, so could just be slight rolling, just seeing maybe a charm or 2 and see if we can pick this up, and then we're able to find push. We simply wanted to be streaking onto the stage. This is our Spike Winter, and you can see already with this strong of a setup, Teemo 2 here is very sketch, barely taking a fight win right there, and this is why this comp also struggles. And the thing is that you want to be in the general variant, at least the one that's floating around, you want to be tanking a Rammus, but that you need to complete Rammus 3, and Rammus can be contested by quite a few 3-cost reroll comps, particularly something like a Tristana if it's in the lobby. And you're not guaranteed to be finding a Rammus 2 on level 6 at all times. That's why this comp is struggling a little bit, maybe a little bit more innovation and Asians here has they identified to be playing around this high roll set. And we are going to simply playing around brawlers, which nicely is going to stabilize ourselves right there. But again, they're very close fight that we're able to thankfully finish on a 2 streak here. Getting that spike window at least pay off somehow, picking up 3 rounds there. That's fine, not the ideal case, but we are still extremely healthy. So we have secured that HP buffer. Also have this Saloon from somewhere. I think from the charm that we're able to pick up. I don't think we are going to be really doing anything with that. Well, now our itemization, we have that Slam, that Void Staff. We would ideally want to get some more raw AP into this Teemo right here. Pick up the Morgana pair, having to dig deep, finding set 2 on level 6 before the Teemo 3, but thankfully Teemo 3 comes into the next shop. Had to dig quite deep, respecting the lobby spike window right here, also since we were so close. We're not afraid to do so, have a little to get the ball back, particularly now that the set 2 is going to be quite unkillable. Could just be slamming Adaptive Helm, but we're going to recognize that not really needed in this matchup. Also, Silverman Dawn Italy, talking about artifacts and potential to be extremely strong. Silverman Dawn Italy with a blue buff is an absolute menace to be dealing with. Something that we should be on lookout from this player in the lobby right here. Glass Cannon theoretically is a lot of damage, and we are lacking in the damage compartment right now. We're going to be getting an extra component. We have an open rod, we are fine with that. Swordsmith theoretically, if you're playing in the AD line, extremely great value. Don't really need it. Small Fury friend, no. I played around this augment, it didn't seem really that worthwhile. And 2-1, you could be looking the tempo around it since it provides you with those units. We do not need it right now. Our main tank is set to, that's not going to benefit from it. We do not even have a second rider, it's just not going to have a value. Pandora's items, too slow to be taking on 4-2 in pretty much 99% of cases. This is there in case your items are complete garbage, but in my opinion, they should just disable it on 4-2. Because you want to be playing it to accelerate your tempo slams. I mean, 2 components is 2 components. You can be clicking that in case you need more items, I suppose. They just want some item augments into that space. But Glass Cannon is going to be great value right here. We're going to be slotting in the... We're playing around with the idea of Loon. Theoretically, splitting in 2 Spellweaver is going to provide us with a little bit of an AP on the team. But, and I mean, we have some durability, but I don't think it's really needed. And I mean, the 2 Invoker, we have quite a bit of mana gen. I mean, 8 mana gen here is a lot, plus with every sec cast, we're going to be gaining a little bit more. And he is casting, this Teemo is casting already a lot, but also only 2 Invoker right here, so yeah, it's probably quite completely fine. Get those casts out. If you're not going to at least be hitting hard, let's hit them often enough. And should just be looking to be pushing levels here. We are not going to be chasing Ramastree since we have secured a set 2. We have this Golden Dragon, so leveling up for... Yeah, can we have the Saloon to be primed? Definitely going to be able to make level 8 with this amount of HP. Particularly if we are fighting a little bit of weaker players here. Someone playing around that Ari Flex seems to have completely missed on their roll down. Having to carry a Sivir 1. That is an extremely rough spot for them to be in. And we're going to be easily picking up a win against them, I would say. But they still managed, the Ari bomb managed to clear off all weaker units. The Teemo is dropping extremely low with his backline access, but we are able to complete a 5 streak, putting us in a commanding position. Looking to complete the final team item. Unfortunately, we are on the last slot right here. If you wanted to be angling into the 5 Spriken, then this Gnar would definitely be a lot of value. And Deathcap? He's going to value picking up the Gnar since we can just get rid of this Kabuko right here. That's going to give us a carry. And yeah, having Gunblade, theoretically completely fine. Since, well, we have Glass Cannon, gain a little bit of a heal up to protect us from this backline access. That's why Glass Cannon feels again very risky into this set. And since Teemo casts so often, he's going to be quite fine. Like, he casts often and quests in a, like, kind of like dots, so to say. Like, it's small amounts of damage spread out, but often intervals, right? So it's theoretically kind of like dots. And therefore, Gunblade is quite strong. Gunblade is generally strong onto these dot scaling champions, something like the Cassiopeia you've noticed, right? That's why Gunblade here is completely fine. Slam allows us to secure these extra wins, particularly since we are on a win streak. They are going to be paying us a lot. And we don't really even need what we would be rolling on level 8 for, I'm not exactly sure. Going into a Cassiopeia reroll here, I don't think that's a true line unless you have that double trouble. But, well, maybe they just saw they needed econs or the duplicators, picked up this Cassiopeia, but they seem to have put rolling on level 7, so... I mean, testing out something, and we took this heroic sacrifice here, which is generally considered an extremely strong charm, but unfortunately in this Cassiopeia matchup is the single matchup where this is going to be quite bad. Reason is she's going to start dotting up your backline extremely fast, and you can see then the Teemo died. We didn't have enough upfront power to be dealing with it, and unfortunately are going to be losing in our streak in the most pivotal of cases. Have the potential to make a red buff, which is completely fine for this Morgana. Could look to transition the adaptive helm if you wanted to. No, we're going to improve our itemization, obviously. Yeah, red buff, void staff, get the JG right here, completing the items quite nicely. Slayer slotting in the Ivern, going to give up onto this I believe it was the damage I'm whatever purple hex, then simply just get this frontline buff for this set because he's our solo frontliner. Do not want to be griefing our positioning too much. Warwick and this Murkwolf did get on our backline, but thankfully the Warwick retargeted onto the set, and we are going to be cleaning up the fight right here. Have farmed a little bit free rerolls and get just big fishing with them for these combat charms right here onto the stage 5, securing our placements right here in a commanding position to be contesting at least the top 3 players here, a little bit top heavier in that regard, that are playing for the win out. When we queue into Brother Rahu, obviously playing around that Caitlyn reroll right there. Has a Gunblade on his own, which is also quite interesting, but hey, any of these comps that are running, there seems to be a lot of frontline power funneling in, lots of Stoneblade synergies, a lot of utilizing of that, and therefore maybe Gunblade is going to be starting to see a little bit more play than usual. Also has the most buggiest augment in the game in form of the Pandora's Bench right there. Let's hope that, you know, doesn't mess with any kind of units, any kind of damage. Always does, but the risky play for them to be slotting in that augment into the set. Also, he's gaining the glass cannon value onto his backline, yes, which is interesting. Maybe just an oversight right there, but probably shouldn't be doing that. And now we see this Nidalee with the blue buff. Silverman does get on our backline and immediately takes us out, gets those resets going in, also has the Ravager emblem. You can see a lot of emblem play going around the lobby. Scipeus here definitely has had a great read that this is the insane augments in the artifact synergy. I believe this is what we're going to be seeing a lot of this launch patch. Lots of crazy artifact synergies, lots of emblem synergies. Flashback set 15, also one of the buggiest sets we've known. So let's just hope it turns out a little bit better than that one did. That set has great potential. Overall, the set has amazing potential. The trait web particularly is extremely interesting. We have an open component, but we're just going to be fishing for an emblem, going for a reborn and find Executioner. Yeah, that theoretically should be very good right here. Going to even moving off the JG just to gain the crit right there, that form of fashion. But do we have enough AP now onto this Teemo? Maybe we do, especially if we're able to tack in 3 Executioner onto that level 9. We're going to be gaining the true damage compartment. Okay, I was shitting onto this Cassiopeia, but she is actually putting in quite a bit of work. Will she be able to complete the fight right here, though? Have the potential to pick up this cannon if you wanted to. This is going to be interesting how we're going to be playing this out. I would assume we play for the 3 Executioners definitely into. Well, did he manage to go? What did, yeah, this is the Murkwolf reroll here. Has found a way to their Malphite 2 onto the level 7. I was wondering if, well, they're still level 7, so they must have hit extremely late, and we're going to be taking them out, it seems. Just wondering if they were chasing the Azir 3 right there. But yeah, okay, we're going to be picking up this cannon and looking to be pushing levels. I'm not sure yet. I think still keeping items onto this Morgana is completely fine. She's absolutely one of the best utility spreaders into the set. And if we're going to be investing already the red buff and the void staff on her, then, I mean, just get her some AP. JG is also completely fine though if you wanted to. But still wonder, this emblem play is extreme high, like, chasing the high roll potential play right there, because we had this open component, right? We could have just picked up a component, anvil or a random component, and completed this final item right there. Going to be transitioning onto this. We have quite a few removers to be playing around with these TGs. Into the Brother who's Caitlyn reroll right here, coming down very close to the wire, but the 3 Executioners actually having enough true damage compartment to break through his solid frontline foundation. And we are going to be facing off against, it seems, well, we have both open matchups, but we're going to seem to be looking to contest against Scipeus here, who is on fire with that blue buff Silverman Dawn in Italy. How do we even position against it? I'm not exactly sure, but now we're going to potentially get our revenge finally onto this Cassiopeia board, and Scipeus is going to be probably having an easy fight against our Ghost. Absolutely runs us over right there. The Cassiopeia has made it to their backline, but yes, we finally have enough damage to be breaking against this solid foundation core. Had a little lineup there for the Sentinel to be hitting us, but that's going to be completely fine. I don't know. I think the one part is that this Nidalee doesn't truly have any form of a aggro reset. She does have a crap ton of Omnivamp though, and CC immunity, so maybe there's some way. She did get a backline. We did retarget onto her. The Gunblade healing is not enough. She just simply swipes, swipe, dead. She's going to be cleaning us up. Who needs a strong frontline when you have this? And I don't know how do we deal with this Edge of Night onto your Teemo, but then he has no damage, but we do not even have that as an option. Picking up a cannon here for cannon 2 with Last Whisper since we are so low on gold, but we probably should have recalled because this is the encounter everyone forgets. We have the Silver Scrapes going to be leveling just for Ahri. I mean, I don't know. Still, I suppose this is the classic of Silver Scrapes, level to 10 all once. And we're going to be trying this full clump position right here. Also had the Charm, I believe. We seem to have retargeted onto this Nidalee, so we were able to close the fight off by just simply clumping and this Nidalee jumping in and completely retargeting on her. Is that something that we could be considering playing for? But how do we guarantee it every single time? I am not too sure. Scipeus here probably, but he also, since he was on the streak, benefited a little bit more from these Silver Scrapes right there. Seems to have didn't really find more upgrades, it seems. The backline is still the only desire to, but this Brambleback is also now another backline, which is not great. And Nidalee just re-jumps onto our Teemo in the last second. This looked very promising until that bit, and the Brambleback obviously clearing off our backline. Not sure if I mean, we tried also not solo frontlining. I do not know. There is so many potentials for the wraps, and then just the Nidalee jumps. This is going to be quite wild right here. Picking up the first charm we have, find an R2, have a single remover if we wanted to move it around our TG, but I think this is completely fine on the head and with that Hodge synergy. Picking up a mana item for the Soraka. And let's see, we're going to be trying this clump again. The Brambleback is going to get in our front line, but the Nidalee here has eaten up just our set. He seems to have gotten more. Yeah, he has that Alloon to win a backline, and that's going to be closing off the fight. Very strong showing by Wasian here of a little bit more niche reroll comp. Obviously had lots of conditions that truly enabled it, particularly also this Golden Dragon, which makes the board so much stronger. Only losing out to that blue buff Silverman Dawn Nidalee, which is an insane combo also to have in back of your mind. Otherwise, nicely played reroll game, recognizing lobby spikes, lobby tempo. Fundamentally very sound. Also versatile with his itemization, constantly improving it and seeing what best synergizes with this unit. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you'll learn something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.